Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 69. I can't believe we made it this far in the playthrough. I know last time I said we would go straight to Necron, but we have somebody to help out.
Can you hear me? Help me! I'm stuck! Hello? Hello? Anyone?
And sure enough, here is Alexander, stuck as could be yet again. Well, stuck for the first time on this character.
Hello?
Let's chat with him.
Ah, hello. How nice it is to see a friendly face. As you can surmise, I've got myself stuck in a hole. Would you mind helping me out? My thanks. 1,000 thanks. Now, just give me a good smack from the rear with something nice and big. And I'll pop clean out, I'm sure. No, don't worry about my wound sustained at the festival. I'm stuck back together good and proper. Just give it your all.
He seems a little worried, but we'll give it a go. And I believe if we smack him once, nothing bad will happen.
Please! Wait. I have a terrible feeling about this. Would you stop hitting me for a minute?
So he has a terrible feeling as soon as we give him a good old charge hit. Let's chat with him.
I can feel my lower half is stuck on something. I don't think you can get me out just by hitting me this time.
Funny how he references this time, even though we weren't able to
Let's
help
think.
him the first time on
Perhaps
this
there's a
character because we
way
missed
to
it.
slide me out a little more smoothly. What if I could somehow be made slippery or some such?
So that's our hint. We need to make him slippery.
Let's think. What if I could somehow be...
And sure enough, we have an oil pot for that very purpose. And it works just as well. And we get the Triumphant Delight Ash. Or, sorry, not Ash. As if it was an ability. Gesture.
My thanks to you and your razor-sharp wits. Oh. As a token of my thanks, I'd like you to have this.
Another Exalted... Well, 3 Exalted Flesh this time. I think he hands you just 1 the first time you meet him.
Dearie me, I'm oilier than a toad. Yeah, there were countless oil jars back where I'm from, actually. And now I know what it's like to be one of them.
He seems a little more damaged than last time we saw him. Perhaps that's intentional. But, let's chat with him again and see if he has any goals to remedy that.
Yes, indeed. I too have a home. Though it is one to which I have vowed not to return. So, I thought I might look out from atop the cliff. But as I drew closer and closer, pow, wouldn't you know it? I was perfectly stuck in that blasted hole. I can feel the warriors inside admonishing me for my mawkishness. To walk the path of champions, one cannot cleave to the past. I'm headed to the Fiery Mount in the north. I can strengthen myself there without fear of cracking this vessel. I will forge myself anew in its flames.
So he has plans to go to a fiery mountain to the north. Why do we have access to the... Somebody made reference to these? I wonder if these appeared because he mentioned them. We've never gone up there, and I haven't gone up there on this character. Kind of interesting how we are... how these icons are made available. That's odd. Oh well.
I'm headed to the Fiery Mount. I can strengthen. I will forge myself anew in its flame.
Okay, so he's going to forge himself anew in those flames. And we'll get to that at a much later date. But I've promised time and time again that we would get to the Starfall Crater. And we are going there now. I don't believe we have any more interruptions. So we're going to get to it and see how far we can get in it. I'm going to switch my weapon now. Back to the Ruin's Greatsword, which takes 50 strength. Ugh. Spread myself so thin on this build. But it is primarily a strength weapon with an int requirement. Getting lots of int is not necessary for this sword. In fact, if you're going for a strength int build, and you want to be modest with your damage stats, 54 strength, probably about 20 intelligence, is good enough. Where is it? Did we miss it? There's supposed to be... Or is it gone? Because I chatted with people. That'd be interesting. Odd. Normally there's a message here. Somewhere in this area. From an NPC that we can read. And it seems to be missing. I swear it's normally on this cliff ridge looking thing here. I'm not seeing a darn thing. Oh, this gets closer to the road than I thought it did. Yeah. I will go down below and see if I can see it down there. But normally there's a message from Blythe encouraging us to go on without him. Which, perhaps that message is no longer there because we've already freed Blythe from the Everjail and confronted E.G. about it. That could very well be possible. That's interesting. It almost makes it feel like E.G. placed the sign there after he imprisoned, or sometime around the time when he imprisoned him, the floating shadows of the rocks above floating. Look at that. That's neat. This is a neat little visual thing. I don't know. Floating stuff. Gravity's weird in this universe. Here we are, and we start to see a wall and nice architecture immediately. We even have unique pots, and I don't think we've seen anything quite like this. This seems to be like an expanded wizard tower in terms of the color of the stones. The architecture, I believe, is fairly new. I don't think we've gotten up close to anything quite like this. So, this is our first sojourn to an eternal city. Necron specifically. We've gotten close to some of them, but never too close. And it's perfect grease, so grease we can use to sleep our foes. Great for fighting people with high latency, because ghost hits can still accumulate sleep, and then once they are put to sleep, you can then give them a good wallop, hopefully. And sure enough, we get here, and we have an impressive sight in front of us. We have some of those reverse spire, like we saw by the Seofra River well, and some leaning towers. This place seems to be in horrid condition. But we can jump over here, which is a little bonus. You don't have to go over here, but I like to, because I grab every shiny I can like a goblin. We find the ghost flame torch. Let's read its description. Metal torch that burns with cold ghost flame. Tool of the fallen hawks who prowl the underground rivers. When the band's last embers were used up in their long search, they began to burn the bones of their fellows, acquiring the cold ghost flame, but sealing their fate as dwellers of the underground for all eternity. So when we were investigating the Seofra River a million episodes ago, yeah, here's another one of them spires with the divots coming off of it, like we've seen at the church's topside. Very odd. Anyways, we found an inverted hawk shield, if you remember, that red kite heater shield. It was a heater shield that had an upside down hawk on it. And that seemed to be a part of some sort of expedition down here. And it seems that we found a ghost flame torch, which is another remnant of that very same expedition. Here we have these silver blobs shooting at us. Very rude. But they're quite feeble to damage, or quite weak to taking damage, it seems. A little overkill. No problems here, though. Another rune arc. I was using those way too quickly. Though, to be fair, Dragon Barrow and the like they're pretty tough areas. They have enemies with good high damage at a point in the game when you don't have the highest damage. Learn how to use a colossal weapon. Dang. My AR is just under 600, so maybe I don't quite have the stats for it. To be fair, I have to, it takes 50 strength, and I don't even have that. I have 42 with Godric's Great Rune. It'd be nice to, because I feel like once you break 50, you really get some good scaling out of this thing. But yeah, 50 force strength, 20 intelligence for your strength int hybrid. You won't be casting spells, but hopefully you can get some tasty Ashes of War. And heck, you could use the demi-human staff to get you some extra scaling. And then you could have light buffs on your weapons, though. They won't be fantastic buffs by any means. You can still have them. Though the biggest spell I think you'll have to use is like Top's Barrier and maybe the War Crimes Pestilent Mist. What's it called? Nightmane's Mist. Speaking of Nightmane's Mist, one of the night sorceries of Sellia, Town of Sorcery, releases a life-sapping silver mist before the caster, dealing damage to all caught within, including the caster. This sorcery can be cast while in motion. Below Sellia, the eternal city of Nokron sleeps. This sorcery originates from the maidens of that place. Interesting that they're referred to as the maidens of that place. And in Sellia itself, we fought, I believe, a Nox monk and a and a night maiden. Maybe. I can't remember if it was a maiden or a swordstress. That's really bugging me now. But here we have our hawk boys. They have their ghost flame torches, if you had any doubt. And they even have ghost flame arrows. Ooh, that turn poke. That other guy knocked himself off the cliff. That feels bad. Clarifying, white cured meat. So that is a long duration meat to help you against frenzy and sleep. Spirit flame arrow. I don't know if we found spirit flame arrows yet. No, because we found dwelling arrows and they're from the Seofra River, right? But the spirit flame arrows set alight in which set alight with ghost flame before firing, deals magic damage while also afflicting foes with frost. And sure enough, it has a little bit of frost built up. I never used these arrows. I wonder if that would be pretty fun or viable, using a barrage bow on enemies to quickly inflict frost and then hitting them with something heavier. Okay. But now we have this courtyard to explore, and we see some nice architecture, these candelabras, a dome, and here it is, the title card, Nokron Eternal City. There seems to be quite a bit going on here. Here we have another noble corpse, and the ghost glovewort picker's bell bearing. Oh, they pull out a shield, and I'll look at that shield in a minute. Look at this trooper. He can block everything. He doesn't care. None of that broke his posture. I wonder if a charged attack will. No. No, it will not. A little bit of magic we have is chipping at him. Okay, these guys are upsetting me. Oh, he followed pretty well. His little bronze-colored cap. Very silly. I think that slamming his shield is supposed to get the attention of enemies who have other NPCs in aggro, because there is a summon version of that guy, and they do that. They're really good at holding the attention of enemies. One of my favorite ashes, actually. Oh, there's the inverted hawk shield and an iron spear. Though these guys are in horrible condition. They have these weird holes in their head. They're so strange. It's like their hands and feet are bloody from walking and digging incessantly. And I don't know why those marks would be in their head unless it's like indentations from wearing their helmet for so long that the helmet has outlived their head, hair, and part of their skin. Kind of grim. Let's do something that's good at breaking guards. The magic damage just killed him through it. Oops. Oh well. Scourge swords. Why not? This is a place to get some silver tear husks. Oh, and if you do a crouch attack with just one out, it's a poke. If you ever needed a poke on this weapon. More spirit flame arrows? Okay. Let's kill these guys and then we can look at their items for their descriptions. Oh, there's the Great Shield Soldier Ashes. One of my favorites. I will need to buff it to show it off. I want to show off more Spirit Ashes, so I'm starting this episode. I got a slew of them upgraded for this. So, just enough to be useful, just to show them off. And we get some Ghost Gloveworts here. And it seems interesting that they have plants, gardens, arches, even this cathedral-looking place. Heck, the bottom of the cathedral there, it's got all these faces, it looks like. Those look like faces to me, at least. As, like, some of the supporting structures on the outside. Very unique architecture, to say the least. Heck, we see more of those silly divots on the spires. Not divots, the wrong word. Those little, protrusions, I'll call them. But we see that the place is lit up with, I believe it's Ghost Flame. Maybe it's slightly too blue. Oh, right. Item descriptions. Item descriptions, before I forget. Alright, so Iron Spear, commonly used iron spear with no notable traits. The blade is severely rusted, kind of indicating their age, right? And then we have their shield, inverted Hawk Tower shield. An iron great shield large enough to cover the entire body. Features an inverted hawk crest. Great shields boast high damage negation and guard capacity, making them easy attacks to repel. I want to hit her with the Ash of War if I can. There we go. That worked quite well. So this is our first person we can farm for this set of gear, which I will now look at to give us a little more of a hint as to what is going on here. So, Swordstress Crown. I believe we fought one of these. Oh, it might have been the one with the bicorn. So, this is the Swordstress, and the other one is the Night Maiden. So we did see a Night Maiden during the fight with the monk and the Night Maiden, and then this is the Swordstress. So they have a third tier, and they're associated with the Nox, and we find them here in Necron, weirdly enough. I meant to go back to head. And let's read the description. Crown worn by the Swordstress of the Eternal City. These women are the personal guards of the Night Maidens, and the silk hides their eyes. Long ago, the Nox invoked the ire of the Greater Will, and were banished deep underground. Now they live under a false night sky in eternal anticipation of their liege, of the coming age of stars, and their Lord of Night. Okay, let's see if the other ones have anything else to say. It seems that the chest piece has much the same description. Yeah, and I bet the pants do as well. But still, that's a lot of lore. So the Nox were a part of the Eternal City, and they were driven underground. Now, was the whole city driven underground, or the people driven underground? They built it. But here, sure enough, there's the false night sky. The Mogwin Dynasty palace in the distance. It's hard. The Ash Force certainly has a purpose. It pulls as well, which is the other really good part about it. So you can pull things off of cliffs if needs be. Alright. What to use? Oh, I meant to show off this halberd because it has flaming strike that we got last time. So we'll definitely do that. Okay. But I meant to show off these guys. They summoned off to the side all weird. And it's us as a mimic tier. And he has our sorceries. Dang. The putrid isn't doing much. Let's get him closer. I want to see if they can do anything. It's me fighting me. Ooh, he's doing the war crimes. And the frostpots. What a nice distraction. So apparently their groans are supposed to pull a lot of damage. Let's see how much health they... Oh, they're beefy. He did 250 to him. Ooh, you can't parry that. Still, these putrid dries just kind of get in the way, it seems. Ooh. It's like a truck. He hits like I do. I don't know how to finish him off. In a way that seems appropriate, I guess. Maybe they'll finish him off with their pathetic little scratches and scritches. Yeah, they're kind of sad, aren't they? They do hold his attention a little much. Well, we'll give him a cool, honorable death. As he dodges it. There we go. Fling him up in the air. I've defeated myself. And we get a larval tier and the silver tier mask. So let's take a look at those. Mask fashioned from the corpse of a formless silver tier, supported by its hardened shed husk. Greatly increases arcane to the detriment of physical attack power. And it only hurts physical attack power by like 5%. It's fairly negligible. But it gives you 8 whole points of arcane, which makes it a fan favorite amongst arcane and status builds. Sure enough. So we fought a mimic tier, which is an interesting creature that can take on our appearance. It also dropped a larval tier, which I'm hoping will give a little more lore. Core of a creature of mimicry known as a silver tier. As much a substance as it is a living organism. Material required by the amber egg cradled by Renala, queen of the full moon, to birth people anew. Being born anew allows the reallocation of attributes boosted by leveling up. Silver tier husk. A hardened husk shed by a formless life known as the silver tier. Found in and around the Eternal City. Material used for crafting items. The silver tier makes mockery of life, reborn again and again into imitation. Perhaps one day it will be reborn as a lord. Interesting little detail, because we see them associated with the Night Maidens who are awaiting their Lord of Night. And for anyone who's familiar with a lot of the content of this game, there was a whole quest line having to do with a silver tier by the name of Asimi, I think. Get a Somber 5. And you can look up like Asimi silver tier cut quest content. You'll find, I forget which YouTuber brought it to light, but that is a neat little quest line that you can look into. I don't have all the details of it, unfortunately, on hand. But more or less, you would find a silver tier, and you would invite them into your person, and you'd have a whole quest line where you'd interact with them, and it would change some NPC's dialogue interacting with you, because they could tell there was 2 beings in one, essentially. which is very creepy. Why it was cut maybe didn't fit with their vision of the lore. Hard to say. Coming down here, we see ancestral followers, and they are spectral no longer. Seems a little excessive, but it hit him. It did well. We have this little area. We'll do a little dinking off here, just a smidge, not a lot. We'll mostly save this area for next time. So now this area starts to make sense on the map. So this lower area was the Seofor River well, and this upper well area is part of Necron. Oh, we'll get to it. We found more of these Dynast ruins, actually, to be specific. And we've gone in and around Necron, and we'll have a little more over here. But let's talk with this ghost. Lord of Blood, your eminence, I beg you, grant me a seat at the table of the dynasty. Long live the Mogwin dynasty. Long live the Mogwin dynasty. And sure enough, that is the Mogwin dynasty over there. We haven't done much there. We got there thanks to Vari's questline. You can use it to farm runes. You can get some high-level stuff fairly early on. We're saving it for later, personally. You know what? We're going to go do this lower area. I don't like it, but it'll be fitting. So if you come down here, you can find some body to loot. There it is. And you can also get your hands on some items. Not all that worth it. None that'll really do too much. Like that level 5 smithing stone, that's kind of nice, you know. You need them to get through levels 13, 14, and 15 on a standard upgrade weapon. You also find these melted mushrooms here. But we come down here because it's an area you can't get to any other way. There we are. We find the Celestial Dew. And we find a... Oh, I missed it. Going too fast. Clarifying Horn Charm. So we have an upgrade version of the Clarifying Horn Charm. So we have this version right here, which raises focus, which is resistance to sleep and madness. And now here's the stronger one. Said to be a budding horn, the ancestral followers believe that the horns of a long-lived beast continue to bud like antlers over and over again until the beast one day becomes an ancestral spirit. And if we look here, sure enough, we see a little more of Necron. But more importantly, this is where we fought the Dragonkin Soldier Abomination. And you can use this pathway to get down there. So this was an alternate way to get here. So I guess this is them saying, hey, you can fight the guy. In case you missed him the first time around, you can fight the Dragonkin Soldier. But we're going to head back up. Sure enough. And we'll probably run through the area just long enough to get another grace. And probably cut the episode there. But still a lot of interesting things. We see some of these weird stone pillars, oddly reminiscent of Ash Lake from Dark Souls 1. And they don't seem to reach all the way to the ceiling. Maybe they were grown. They're still really odd, though. Really tall, too, some of them. Are they petrified trees? Are they remnants of the Great Tree? Probably not. But we can easily grab this here. This, another one of these braziers that you need to unlock yet another boss fight. So they're repeating the same concept, but they're layering on a few more details. Unlike before. Well, of course. Train Lily, so there's 2 of these that you can get right off the bat. And there's fewer of them. I think there was 8 before. I think we just need 6 this time around. Yep, we can tell by the lit torches on this ruin over here. Have the remnants of bodies, so it seems that more than just us were able to get here. Which makes you wonder how the these nobles got here. The ones looking around for stuff, scavenging in the dirt. Here we have a shaman. Ow. And she has phenomenal stumble on just her hand. Really hoping to hit her with something a little more substantial. There we go. Oh, she got her shaman furs. Oh. I want to know how's this... Oh, shucks. It is not good at blocking. Its guard boost is 59. I guess he was doing technically a heavy for that character, but still. Great swords are supposed to have okay block, like, the fire greatsword probably has better guard boost if it's not fire infused, but here's a third brazier. And now we will come over here to this side of grace, and we will cut for now. But we see another way into Necron, a deeper portion. See a huge chair, kind of like we saw at the Ensil River well, but now it's occupied. Well, actually, that one was occupied too, I think. It's another one of them creepy big old chairs. See a few silver tears down there. And these statues of these masses of emaciated looking bodies. Very grim. Necron is the hot topic of ancient civilizations, it seems. Very grim. But I thank you for joining me today for episode 69. Episode 70 next time, we will finish this area, the Ancestral Woods, and also go into Necron. Because there's not too much. We are making great progress. We are, I'd like to say that the content of Elden Ring is much like a pyramid, where the base is very wide and it comes to a point. So the farther we get, the faster it seems to go. Well, we'll see you next time, and bye-bye.